It provides a platform for us to enhance our existing communication leadership qualities. There are 3 ground rules which we have to follow during this entire meeting. Number 1, we should not speak anything about sex, politics and religion. Number 2, please put your phone on mute, on silent, so that we don't disturb the speakers and the role players. We'll give 5 seconds. Please ensure your phones are on mute. Thank you. And number 3, please refrain from moving in and out and outside your chair when the speeches are on. With these few words, I once again welcome and present the meeting to the presiding officer.
Good evening, everyone. With this, I declare meeting number 723 of Medley Toastmasters Club open. Sound of the gavel. I welcome our distinguished Toastmasters, DTM Sampath Sowrirajan, DTM Thomas Abraham, DTM Sundararaman to this meeting, and also I welcome all our club members and the guests who are present here. Thank you for joining us this wonderful meeting, the great evening of Saturday. With this, I would like to invite the guests who are visiting us today to give a brief introduction about themselves. Please, ma'am.
I'm Sintana. I'm coming from Trivandrum. I'm working in ZF company. It's an automotive company. So I'm experiencing about 14 years in the company. So I just came here to practice speaking because I just have some nervousness when I speak in front of crowd. So I just want to remove or eliminate such nervousness, and also I want to learn the articulation skills. So that's the reason I just was planning to attend these sessions here.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's the first time coming.
Thanks for joining us. Please.
Hi, good afternoon. So basically I want to improve my public speaking skills. So I have some issues in there. I'm a software engineer and I work in a company called Gigamon. It's there in Mount Road. So I reside in Adayar, Nerman, Fourth May.
My name is Pugalinthi. I work for Cognizant, and I am a resident of Adayar. Heard about Toast Club through my friends. Just curious and to watch the show. Perhaps I could be a potential member. I'm planning to join as well. Last 2 weeks back, I was here for the competition. That was really impressive. Just to learn from you.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
Hello, good afternoon everyone. I am Pari, Puhal's brother. I'm here just to see what's going on here. Somewhere I saw this, what do you want to become? I think that's the topic for today. I don't know, I saw it somewhere. I want to sell oil to a sheikh in Dubai, right? And see if Toastmasters can help me with that. That's what I'm here for. Okay?
Yes, sir. Please, Kumaresh.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. Myself Kumaresan. I'm also an IT professional like most of us. I work at a company called Google. For past 10 years I'm in the IT industry. Basically, I know a lot about Medley Toastmaster. I used to follow on Twitter and YouTube. I used to listen a lot of your past videos. And I had been here for once. There was again a competition. It was so much impressed one. And I'm here to improve my public speaking skills. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon everyone. I am Push Singh. I am from Madhya Pradesh. did my masters from IIT Madras. Currently, I am working in IIT Madras as a project associate, and currently I am residing in Saravanan. And I am here for improving my public speaking.
Great. Thank you. Yes, sir. We have 2 more guests. Please, you can introduce yourself.
Yeah, I used to be a ex Medley member a long time. So one of my friend, ex Toastmaster Rajan also told like he's coming on the way. So I just want to.
You are good in Chocolate. Oh, I heard about you. Yeah. Yeah. I remember. Yeah. Renga and Chocolate. Mr. Tarun, would you like to?
Good afternoon all. I'm Tarun. I'm studying in VIT Chennai. Most of the people know it. So this is my 4th or 5th time over here. I'm going to become a member over here. I'm trying for it, and it's really helpful. Like day by day, I can see the difference on me. Like the way I talk to people, even in my college, I can actually stand and talk right now. I'm not feeling so nervous or anything. So yeah. So it's really motivating to come over here every day. Thank you.
Happy to listen to such words from the guests, that it is motivating and they get more confident being on stage. And also I'm happy to see there are a lot of repeat guests who are here, who have been here for more than 2 to 3 times here, and there are a few new guests. I request them to come often and experience Toastmastering. So recently I heard one quote. I have a lot of problems in my life. Almost 99 of them didn't happen. Do you know who said this? Of course, you may not, because it is from our Vice President Education Venkataseshan, it's me. So, most of the times we get into these anxious moments. We think a lot of problems and we think that, okay, this may go wrong, that may go wrong, and there may be 100 things that may go wrong. And finally we end up 1 or 2 things go wrong among them. But most of the time we get more anxious on those things and we well into those things and we end up in more miserable, anxious future rather than living in the present moment. So I started looking into this, how I can overcome. Few years or few months back I was into this more anxious state. So I was going through various articles and posts in all professional platforms. Then I heard about one particular statement which inspired me a lot. So I wanted to share that with you all. It said, the problems take their true level of importance and priority once you go through a hard workout and a good overnight sleep. Hard workout and a good overnight sleep. These are the 2 main things which if you follow every day, then you could overcome your anxiety. Predominantly, all your problems, they get settled down with your overnight sleep and a good workout. And the next day, I'm pretty sure with my experience, you would see that out of 100, there will be 1 or 2 problems which you need to face on the next day. So with that, happy moment and the message which I shared at last. Do you know anybody knows who has told that quote? It's not me. It's from James Clear, who is the author of Atomic Habits. So that really inspired me. The workout which I shared a few weeks back that I started doing a year back, I started from that particular quote. So I wanted to share that with you. With that quotation, I would like to invite our Toastmaster of the day to take our proceedings further. Toastmaster Pravda is a dentist and a professor by profession, and by passion she is Toastmastering every day at home and also in her college. I welcome Toastmaster Pravda to take over the session.
Thank you very much. Very good evening, fellow Toastmasters, guests and my dear friends. For the past 3 weeks, I was not able to do things that I generally love to do. I did not go to meet my friend who came from Zedda. I did not contest for ISC and TT contest. I got irritated for simple things. I sparingly laughed. You know why? My daughter gave her 10th board exams. The day she completed her exams, when I went to college, my colleague said, "Ma'am, is Varsha's exam got over? You look very happy today." Many of you would have come across such phase in your life. A phase of irritability, a stressful phase, a phase where you were emotionally disturbed, a phase where you would have temporarily lost your happiness. This is because there was a drop in certain chemicals in your body. There are more than 100 chemicals secreted up in our body, various parts of the body, which you can classify them either as hormones or neurotransmitters that plays or regulates various functions in our body like respiration, digestion, sleep. Out of these, there are 4 chemicals which you can specifically call them as neurotransmitters or neurochemicals that regulates our mood. And they are responsible for our positive thinking, our happiness, our pleasure, and they are called happy hormones. After all, the ultimate purpose and goal of a human existence is to strive for happiness. Psychology says that happiness is not associated with 1 or 2 factors, but it is an integration of several factors. It is a person's well-being and self-limitation that forms a spectrum that ranges from contentment on one side to intense joy on other side. These happy hormones are responsible for the sense of well-being or happiness in us, and when they drop down, they lead to negative thoughts, fear, anger, and when it continues, it can lead to psychological morbidities like depression or anxiety. You can remember these happy hormones with an acronym DOS, D-O-S, where D stands for dopamine. Dopamine has an intense or a strong association with happiness. And you can also call it as a feel-good hormone, and it forms an integral part of our reward system. Whenever we win or whenever we achieve something, our dopamine raises. So if you want to keep your dopamine level high, you have to set small goals and keep achieving them. And studies have proven that music has a strong association linked with dopamine level. That's why when you listen to nice music, you feel happy. Sleep, good sleep, as said by our presiding officer, good sleep, eating good food, saving money, everything increases our dopamine level. Let's keep talking about these happy hormones and the activities that are going to stimulate the release of these happy hormones in today's meeting. So for the sake of the newcomers and our guests, I would like to describe the proceedings of any Toastmaster meeting. It happens, any basic meeting happens in 3 different sections. The first section is the prepared speech, where a member will prepare and deliver a speech based on their project requirement. The second section is an unprepared speech, where few of the members and guests will be invited here, and they will be given a topic where they have to deliver an impromptu speech. And the third section is the evaluation section, where the member will evaluate the prepared speech of the other member. And some Toastmaster meetings have additional sessions, like as we have today, we have an educational session where we are going to learn about the nuances of writing a proper script. So, to evaluate the entire meeting, we have a person called as General Evaluator, and today we have someone who is professionally a mechanical engineer, who worked for Ford, who is an efficient ExCom member, a lovable person, and he finds boosting up of his mood and find happiness whenever he plays cricket. Please join with me to welcome the ex-president Toastmaster Saravanan, the general evaluation.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. Good afternoon, Medley. How are you all doing? Excellent. What is special today? Saturday. Yeah, other than that?
Many guests.
Yeah, 7 guests. Nice. You have taken 1 point from my general evaluation. Today's special is World Retrospective Day. What is retrospection?
Looking back.
Very good, to look back. So this is a Latin word which means retrospectare. Okay, it means to look back. That is my role as well. To look back the entire proceedings. That is the reason I am sitting at the back. Now, to take the meeting forward, my role is to ensure that whoever comes to this stage, I will evaluate them. Not only me, I have a team also who evaluates the entire proceedings and provide the feedback at the end of every session. This team is called as gate team, gatekeepers. Grammarian, counter, timer, evaluator, and then there is one more entity also. That is all of you. Because you are all here for some reason, or coming here for some reason, right? So we have seen 7 guests who have joined today for either for improving their communication skills or their leadership skills. That means they are also looking here to observe and orchestrate. So you are also here to understand what the others are coming here and doing, right? So that is one of the feedback that we will normally get. And how you can share your feedback is at the end of every session, you will be given a QR code. And there will be a feedback form also associated with that. Using that QR code, you can do 2 things. One is you can choose the best performer for the day, as well as you can provide the feedback. And that is more important because the feedback is the breakfast of champions. Right? We have we have completed our lunch and come, but that is also a feedback on you. Okay. So you please ensure that you observe the proceedings and orchestrate your thoughts in the form of the feedback as well. So I will introduce my gate team as well as now. But before that, I would like to let you know that what are the things that we normally evaluate. Timeliness, effectiveness of the meeting, planning, organization of the meeting, as well as performance of the individuals with respect to their goals and objectives. These are the 5 parameters we normally evaluate as part of the general evaluation as well. Now I would like to call upon my general evaluation team so that you will get to know what their roles and responsibilities of all. First, I would like to call upon my grammarian. So the grammarian role is played by a person who joined very recently. Although he is new to Medley, he is a Toastmaster for the past 8+ years in Mulund, in Mumbai, and he will be the person who will be coming and doing the grammarian role today. The interesting part of this person, and if I have to introduce this person by using only one word, that means positivity. He is a person who observes things very clearly. Because when he joined as a guest also, when he was given a topic of social media, he talked about in such a way that he was able to combine everything that happened in the previous sessions as well as what is happening with the audience as well. So he is a keen observer and provided this TT speech based on that. So I would like to welcome Toastmaster Anand for that. Please put your hands to welcome Toastmaster Anand.
Thank you, General Evaluator, today for the very kind words. Good afternoon, Medleyians. I am Ananthan. I am the grammarian for today's meeting. As a grammarian, my role is to observe and listen intently to each and every speaker who comes over here and have a look at the good usage of English language as well as the correct as well as incorrect usage of of how you use grammar. My word of the day for today is COAX, which is coax, which means to persuade, which means to convince. The example of using a word coax would be, the VP at Venkataseshan coaxed me to take a tag role as soon as I became a member. That's one way version. Another version of it would be, management needs to coax their better half by giving gifts so that they don't become bitter half every day. That's another way of how you use the word coax. I have a tip of the day. The tip of the day for the grammarian tip of the day is to understand the difference between advice and advice, right? At times we get a little bit confused as to when to use ADVISE I'm going to use ADVICE. ADVICE is a verb and ADVICE is a noun, right? Just to put things in context, if I have to give you how to use ADVICE, the verb, I advise you to listen attentively to DTM's speakers, Sundararaman's speech on a session on how to craft a speech. That's how you try and use ADVICE. If you want to try and use the noun ADVICE, we need to listen to advice of Dr. Pravda's speech on how to be instantly happy. That's how we try and use both the words put together. I urge you to use the word of the day COAX as and when you have an opportunity to use it. At the end of the day, at the end of the session, I'll give a crisp note of how the session has been, and I will report back to the general evaluator. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Anand. Now we go on to the next role player, that is our counter. So one of the guests mentioned that he joined this session because of YouTube and Twitter messages, right? So yourself. And this is a person who is responsible for that. And this our counter is the current VPPR. VPPR means what? Versatile, patience personified, as well as respectful person. Okay. And please put your hands to welcome Toastmaster Prasanna, who has made Medley famous, and she's also intending to make Medley famous as well. Again, please put your hands to welcome Toastmaster Prasanna.
Thank you, General Evaluator, for this great introduction. Greetings, fellow Toastmasters and guests. The purpose of the R counter is to note the use of filler sounds and crutches by anyone who speaks today. What are these crutches and filler sounds? As we speak, our brain takes some time to process and tell our tongue what to speak. In this interim period, there is an uncomfortable pause which comes in, and we try to overcome that pause by filling it with some sounds or unnecessary words. They are called the filler sounds or the crutches. As an R counter, I will listen for these sounds. I will note the use of overused words like and, well, but, so, you know. I will also listen for sounds like In addition, I will note when a speaker repeats a word or a phrase. I coax all of you to be aware of this filler sound creeping in and try your best to avoid using it. At the end of the meeting, I will provide my report on these sounds and words. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Prasanna. When I joined Toastmaster, I used to avoid looking at R counters because the R counters always sit in the first row. I always think like whether they are R counter or end counter. But luckily, Prasanna is sitting in the last row. Now we come to the next role player, that is the timer. The timer is a very important role, and today it happens to be an accidental timer because that role was given to her after she came in here. And this person is a very likable person because whenever you put anything in WhatsApp, she is the first person to like that as well. Please put your hands to welcome Toastmaster Nishana.
Good afternoon, everyone. So today I'm playing the role of timer. As a timer, it's my responsibility to alert the speakers about the time usage of their total speech. We have 3 sections today. First is the prepared speech. We have 2 awesome speeches today. So it's going to be 5 to 7 minutes of time. So for the speakers, for 5 minutes I'll show the green card, 6 minutes I'll show the yellow card, and at 7 minutes I'll show the red card. Then for the evaluators, we have 2 to 3 minutes. At 2 minutes I'll show the green card, 2.5 minutes I'll show the yellow card, and at 3 minutes I'll show the red card. Then for the table topics, we have guest participation as well. So you will have 1 to 2 minutes of time for the table topics. Minimum 1 minute you will have to talk. And for the 1 minute I'll show green card, 1.5 minute I'll show the yellow card, and then for 2 minutes I'll show the red card. After all these speeches, you will have extra 30 seconds of time as a grace period to complete your speech. Other than the usual structure, we also have the educational session today, for which we have allocated 30 minutes of time. So at 25 minutes, I'll show the green card, 27.5 minutes, I'll show the yellow card, and at 30 minutes, I'll show the red card. So I'll share my detailed report at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Are you all clear about the timing? Okay, fine. All the minutes and everything, right? Because sometime back, when I was speaking for 6 minutes, even then also I was disqualified. Do you know why? It was a TT speech. Yeah, because that was happening during the pandemic time, and I was not able to visualize where the timer was located. Now the timer is located at the last row, and you will be able to see that person and the cards as well. All the very best. With this, I have completed the introduction of my GATE team, GAT team. There is one E team, the evaluation team, that I will be doing at the end of this session. And with this, I have completed my role for now, and I will come back at a later point of time once the speeches are completed. Over to the Toastmaster.
Thank you, Jimmy. So now let's get started to witness our dopamine rise, listening to the pleasurable prepared speech session. So the first speech is from a speaker who is a physiologist, an academician as well. And she is one of the optimistic person that I have ever met. She is capable of spreading happiness and positivity to surroundings. And if there is any one activity that is going to boost up her mood and happiness, it is spending time and traveling with her family. So before I call upon Toastmaster Anuradha to give her first speech, let me call upon her evaluator, DTM Sampath, to read out her objectives.
Good afternoon, Toastmasters today, fellow Toastmasters, including my two good old Medley friends who are here. Today, Toastmaster Anuradha is doing a project which is probably more important than any other project in the Toastmaster system. Because we come here for improvement, and improvement is basically by feedback. So this project actually is designed to coax the people to practice this art of getting feedback and making use of it. Toastmaster Anuradha already gave a speech and she has got some feedback. Based on that, she is going to give an improved version of the speech. The purpose statement says the purpose of the project is for the member to present a speech on any topic and then receive feedback and use the feedback for the second topic. The purpose of this speech is for the member to demonstrate that he or she has applied the feedback and from the first speech. Good luck to the speaker and happy listening to all of us.
Thank you, DTM Sampath. Toastmaster Anuradha, heartfelt living with zero diet. Heartfelt living with zero diet, Toastmaster Anuradha.
How many of you want to be healthy and happy without medicines? Wonderful. Okay, join me in to learn about heartful living. On May 2020, I received a WhatsApp message from my friend, Dr. Smrita. That is, her husband, Dr. Anand Chokalingam, is conducting a session on heartful living. And she has also mentioned that it was his brainchild. That word, brainchild, provoked me to listen. So I attended his session. I was totally astonished by his wonderful scientific concept with proof. He also says that by calorie restriction, that is intermittent fasting, with smile and gratitude will reduce weight, control diabetes, decreases blood pressure, reverses heart disease, then prevent cancer and also reverses biological aging. He showed everything with the proof. And he also explained what is the reason to restrict the diet. How diet restriction will prevent all these disorders. The reason is previously we eat food we ran for the food, shelter and survival. So it was compensated. But in this modern world, in this busy time, we are eating the same quantity, but the physical activity is less. So sedentariness, loneliness and our busy lifestyle has made all the food into fat, and it brings about the complications. And anyone can tell me what is the SAD? S-A-D, SAD? It is not mood, it is standard American diet. Previously, it was followed by Americans with high calorie, high fat diet. But nowadays, because of westernization, we also started using this SAD diet that leads to more complications. And I was wondering how, by the concept he told about intermittent fasting for 14 hours per day and 24 hours per week will reverse all these changes. And I asked him how 14 hours in 24 hours will bring about all these changes. Then he explained me, that is, when we eat a meal, it will take around 8 to 12 hours to process, digest, and absorb and to be utilized. After 12 hours only, the fat which is stored in our food, in our body, will be started utilizing. So we need minimum of 14 hours of fasting in 24 hours and 24 hours of fasting in 1 week to burn out the excess calories and bring back our body to healthy state. Then at that time I thought, okay, it is my time for transition. So I started to implement it from next day. That comes the challenges. To fast for 14 hours, if I have my dinner at 8 p.m., I should have my breakfast tomorrow at 10 a.m. First day, I thought I'll make the coffee ready for my family members. I should not touch it. But when I brew the coffee, the flavor, the aroma of coffee powder changed my mood. So I had my coffee, and the first day thing was over, like New Year resolution. First day was over, so I thought of implementing from next day. The second day, when I prepared tiffin for my family members, I was giving idli to my kids. When my younger son, he had 1.5 idli and kept remaining half idli. Immediately my mother-in-law told, don't waste the idli, you eat by yourself. I was coaxed by my mother-in-law to eat the food because she always don't want to waste food and she will insist us not to waste food. So that day also went. Like that, it took me around 6 months to follow this intermittent fasting. After that, I explained my wish and the importance of intermittent fasting to my family members. And I made my mother-in-law to sit and listen to Dr. Anand's session in Tamil. So she attended and she got motivated, and from that day we together, mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, together started following intermittent fasting. So no issues at the home. We are happily following intermittent fasting, that is 14 hours per day, and 24 hours, that is only the challenge which my mother-in-law had. On seeing the changes on us, my husband, he also started following intermittent fasting. So by seeing 3 of us, my sister-in-law also came. From this month, she started following intermittent fasting. So my entire family is now in heartful living. We are following intermittent fasting, 14 hours per day, with a smile and with a gratitude and with little bit of physical activity which we can. Along with that, my friends, Dr. Pravda and Dr. Vidya and my colleagues also started following this heartful living along with me. So to conclude, watch what you are eating. Our president used to tell mindful living, like mindful eating. Healthy food is good for us, but even though we should restrict the calorie intake. Even though it is healthy food, we should restrict the calorie intake. And we should feel gratitude for each and everything we are having in our life. And we should face everybody or everything, every situation with a smile. And we should do minimum of physical activity. We are like a machine. If we don't use the machine, it will become rust. Like that, we don't use our body, it will become disuse atrophy. So we should use the body by doing physical activity. So by all this, we can enter the heartful living. That is mindful eating, gratitude, smile and physical activity. We can enter heartful living. So it is up to you, Medlians, to follow the heartful living. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Anuradha. The second speaker is a dentist who has specialized in oral and maxillofacial pathology. She is a charming and a passionate communicator who believes that magic in the words. And being solitude, enjoying her me time increases and boosts up her happy hormones. Before I call upon Toastmaster Sandhya, may I now request her evaluator, DTM Thomas Abraham, to read out her objectives.
Thank you, G. Good afternoon, my dear friends. Shortly, we're going to hear Toastmaster Dr. Sandhya delivering her Level 4 Project 1 from Dynamic Leadership. It's called Change Management. Two simple words that constitutes the greatest of challenges for managers. Those who go through that come of age. Over to you, TMOD.
Toastmaster Sandhya, the consolidation. The consolidation, Toastmaster Sandhya.
Like the movies, let's go back to the scary era, the COVID era. March 23rd, 2021, the government declared COVID lockdown. The entire earth was shattered. Mother Earth was herself under confusion. Should I rotate east to west or west to east? So much of noise and disturbance inside the earth. Good evening and greetings, TMOD, GE, DTM Toastmasters and my dear guest. My husband and I are practicing dentists. We run 3 dental centers, 2 small ones at Thiruvanmiyur and Ashok Nagar, and 1 primary dental center, which is a posh clinic at Aripuram. During COVID lockdown, all the 3 centers were completely shut down. In May 2021, the government released partial lockdown. We could open for few hours. So we opened all the 3 dental centers. Understand our situation. All 3 centers were opened. 0 patient walk-in, not even 1. Financial inflow was 0, but financial outflow was moving on. The COVID regulations by the Government of India and the Medical Council were very stringent. We had to invest on UV chambers on every room, disposables on every room. For us, they allow us to practice. Otherwise, we will be banned from practice. And to top it all, Ashok Nagar and Thiruvanmiyur doctors who went for lockdown stayed in their native place, no plans of coming back. So we both had to shuttle between all the 3 centers. So the net result, physical, mental, emotional, financial stress was piling up and the situation warranted a change. We asked our peer group dental chains how they managed with the situation. They all unanimously said only one word, just consolidate. After discussion with the team, with the main people, we came out with a decision, a plan to consolidate 3 dental centers into 1 strong center with all the COVID guidelines incorporated in it. The desired outcome was we have 1 strong center, Aripuram, with all the COVID guidelines. So the patients, the loyal customers who come in, they will be treated in a very protective zone. 2, The staff who work for us will be safe and they don't go back taking COVID home. 2. 3. As employers, my husband and I will be slightly de-stressed from physical and financial stress. So since this plan benefited the organization, team and the individual, we thought to implement the plan. But before implementing, we had to communicate our plan to 2 groups of stakeholders. Group 1, the support staff, 1 in each center, Tiruvallur and Ashoknagar. Support staff are not doctors, they are assistants who help us to perform better. We believed we will be able to coax them the change. Group 2 are loyal customers, the clients, the patients, 1,000 each in Ashoknagar, 1,000 in Tiruvallur. So the communication plan was decided and communication plan for group 1, the support staff. Our intention was to transfer the support staff from the respective centers to work for Arepuram Center. We invited them to our Arepuram Center so that they could have the look and feel of the posh, rich clinic there. It was a direct method of communication that was adopted and we spoke face to face. We said, welcome to Arepuram Center. We are very happy to offer you work at Arepuram Center. Because of due reasons, we are unable to continue with Ashoknagar and Tiruvallur. We are planning to shut down. What are your thoughts? What do you think about it? We gave them time to think and share their thoughts. They discussed. Discussion was going on travel, distance, timings, all sort of subtopics were discussed and they brought out a negotiation plan. Ma'am, if you can add the travel expense along with the salary, because we need to travel a lot from Ashoknagar to Tiruvallur to Arip, we can continue. Change managed well. We accepted for the travel expense. The second group, communication plan for our patients, 1,000 each. It's a mass communication. So we adopted the online mode. Each patient was given an email, SMS and WhatsApp on communication. If they did not acknowledge, a telephonic conversation was done. Whatever said and done, every patient was communicated on the shutdown of the centers. And the message in the communication revealed, dear patron, we are happy to serve you with complete COVID protection guidelines at Arepuram. Unfortunately not at Ashoknagar and Tiruvallur. We regret the inconvenience caused. If you wish to continue treatment at Ashoknagar and Tiruvallur in your own geography, kindly contact the phone numbers of our colleagues who practice there and get the dental assistance from them. So anticipating the question in our patient's mind, what would I do if I have a sudden dental pain? Anticipating that, we incorporated a solution inside the communication message itself. The message was well received and 95% of our clients responded and acknowledged well. So dear ladies and gentlemen, the change was managed well because of proper communication. The 2 messages which I would like to highlight in a proper communication when you communicate change to your team. Number one, it is not what you communicate, it is how you communicate. The intentions, the positivity, the nobility what you hold inside, the care that you hold inside for the other person when you communicate makes a lot of difference. They understand better. Number 2, it is not only how you communicate, the message should say what is benefiting the other person and not you. The change, how does it benefit for the other person? This will definitely help your team to accept the change. Change is the only constant. Let us change and grow better. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sandhya. 2 days before my students organized a oral screening camp in Sholing-Nallur Commissioner Office. They coaxed me to give an anti-tobacco talk, awareness talk for the policemen. I have an experience of giving the talk in several colleges and in schools. But this talk, what I gave for the policemen, reached wider. I was well appreciated. This gave me, reinforced my self-esteem and self-worth. This feeling of significance and confidence is because of a rise in a neurotransmitter called serotonin, the S in DUS. Strengthening your social ties, doing voluntary activities, being a part of a team sports all increases our serotonin level. The happiness that we feel whenever we do exercise, especially outdoor exercise like cycling, biking, hiking, exposing ourselves to sunlight, all increases our serotonin level. Please volunteer. I request the members and guests to volunteer yourself to increase your serotonin level by participating in this impromptu speech session, the table topic. To conduct this table topic session, I would like to request a friendly person who is always with a smile, who works as an enterprise resource planner in Cognizant. And I'm sure that his serotonin level and vitamin D level is always high because he loves running on the beach and he uses that as his mood booster to bring out happiness. Please join with me to welcome Toastmaster Rohit, the table topic master of the day.
Thank you, TM. Very good afternoon. I'm Rohit. I am the table topics master for this today's session, today's meeting. So hope you all know what table topic session is. So it is a very session part of a meeting, Toastmasters meeting, to give you to just share with you all the purpose of what table topics is. It is a purpose. It is intended to help and develop speakers to develop their thinking skills, develop their thinking and organizing skills, where they'll have to respond to any topic or question immediately. So I encourage all these speakers to use the word of the day, that is quotes, during in your speech. And again, to reiterate the timings, speakers need to speak a minimum of 1 minute. Minimum of 1 minute. At 1 minute, you will be shown the green card. 1 minute 30 seconds, you will be shown the yellow card, and red card will be shown at 2 minutes. You will be given a grace amount of 30 seconds. After which, you will be disqualified. You can still go on speaking, you will be disqualified. Okay, so I call out the speakers. I'll also call out the speakers, and you can also volunteer whenever I call out them, when I read out the topics. So at the end, I'll also. Okay, yeah, that's it. To begin with, I'll have go with the first topic, that is home is where the heart is. Home is where the heart is. Toastmaster Shanmugam. Home is where the heart is.
Good afternoon, fellow Toastmaster and the guest. Home is the way us heart is. In this topic, if I want to say that, once a
home is where the heart is.
home is the where the heart is. I feel in this topic, how your activities and your behavior is there, that is depend upon where you have grown up. So the person success
on his future activities, his home plays a very important role. From there only, he is brought up from the childhood onwards. Then he is going to teach their good characters and other activities for his children. So home is the very important place for him as well as his children also. That I understood in the studies.
Okay. So our next topic is there is always a second chance. There is always a second chance. Guest woman. So you can. There is always a second chance.
There is always a second chance. Yes, thank you very much. We should always try again and again. Just not leave anything that is come in our way. We should not let everything will have a second chance. So go on trying again and again, so that you will be more successful. And it happens first is with the exam. We try to do it well, but maybe the first time you are not that successful, or you don't get that much grade. But the next time you should not give up that. But there is a second chance. Maybe in the second chance you will get a rank, and you will be yourself surprised that second chance has done wonder. So in life also, it's not only in the exam. Life is also an exam. And people try different jobs and different professions also. One becomes a doctor and not very happy about the medicine or the work that the person is doing. So that person is trying another job. That is a second chance. It is entirely different from the profession that she was doing. But second chance, that person is really successful. And that makes the difference between just giving it up or making use of the second chance. So second chance is a wonderful thing to be followed.
Next is, what role sports play in inculcating discipline? What role sports play in inculcating discipline? Guest Kush Singh. What role sports play in inculcating discipline?
Hello everyone. This is my first time, so in sports we have time limit. So we have play in fixed time. So in real life also we make discipline.
Just to speak on sports. Speak on sports. General.
I can speak on any sport you play.
Yeah, generally I play cricket actually, and
very good. Never judge a book by its cover. Agree or disagree? Never judge a book by its cover. Agree, disagree. Guest Chokalingam.
Thank you. Never judge a book by its cover. I both agree and disagree. Why you shouldn't judge a book by its cover is like the moment you see a person, you shouldn't judge, hey, this person can't be a doctor, this person can't be a lawyer, something. You shouldn't do that because that person may be in the gym or he may be there after a workout or something like that. And at the same time, never judge a person. Never judge a book by its cover. I agree because whenever you are, you're going to be in a place, you need to be dressed like you belong there, something like that. And yeah, pretty much it.
Excellent. What's one skill you wished you learned sooner in life? What's one skill you wished you learned sooner in life? Toastmaster Rangarajan.
I've always wanted to study chemistry. But due to forces of nature, I was taken to the other extreme of arts and commerce. Not that it's a bad thing. It has suited me well and I have progressed in life. But chemistry has always been my passion. And I wish that I would have gotten a chance to study chemistry because it's the most fascinating subject for me. Believe it or not, I always stood first in chemistry in school, but the other subjects were just above par. And if I had pursued that skill, things could have turned out different. Still, there is a spark in me which always feels that I can still pursue it, although I have not tried hard enough to look at opportunities to pursue that as a career choice. I don't believe it is too late now. As often as possible, I try to look into some articles to read more about chemistry and about medicine. I'm fascinated by science, but that's the way it is. I wish I could have pursued chemistry. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next topic is describe your biggest fear. Describe your biggest fear. Guest Sintana.
Hello all, I'm Sintana. So today's my topic is my biggest fear. So I have not only one fear, I have more than one or two fears. So one is about the road traveling. Though I enjoy road traveling, I love driving. I usually fear when I just going at a speed of more than 100 kilometers. So when someone rides also, I just have that fear because my grandfather passed away due to a accident. So I always have that fear from my childhood. So I always have the tendency to stop the driver or always use a second. I will behave like a second driver whenever someone drives. So I ask to go slow, go slow. So that is one of my biggest fear. The other fear is sometimes when I see a crowd, I always have fear of nervousness sometimes. So this is also one of my fear. And okay, the other fears are like health. So recently, one of my close friends' husband passed away. He passed away due to heart attack. So he's very young. He's only just around 40. So so people are not caring about their health. So even my family members, my close relatives, they are not caring about their health. So this comes always as a fear for me because anytime anything may happen, so they have to be very cautious about their health and they have to take care of them. Okay. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Sita. Good attempt for a first time. Alright, I'll have to wind up now. We are really running short of time, so I have to cut short the table topic session. TMOD. Oh yeah, timer, can you please read out all the qualified speakers? Table topic speakers.
Yes. Toastmaster Shanmugave, you can raise your hand. Toastmaster Shanmugave, yes, Gomati. Toastmaster Ranga, yes, C.
Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, TT Master, for conducting the table topic session in an interesting way. I hope many of you remember the interesting phrase that Toastmaster Saravanan used in last meeting. He said, "My wife carried my daughter in the womb and I carried her in my heart." This lovable, strong intimacy between the child and the parent is because of the increase in the production of a hormone called oxytocin. We would have studied in our highest schools that oxytocin is the one that is responsible for childbirth and breastfeeding. But this is the hormone that is responsible for trust, empathy, and the bonding that occurs in a relationship. Spending time with your loved ones, planning for a romantic evening increases the oxytocin level. I will give you a greatest way to increase your oxytocin level. Have a pet, especially petting a dog, touching the dog, cuddling it, and even the vision, the sight of your pet dog can increase your oxytocin level. Studies have also proven that cooking a delicious food and serving it with love with your loved ones also increases the oxytocin level. Today, in our education session, we have a person whose oxytocin level is going to increase because he is going to deliver with love what he has learned in his 15 years of Toastmastership. He is going to share the nuances of writing a proper speech. And for that, today we have DTM Sundararaman, and his, as I told you, his mood booster is learning new things and sharing it with love with others, what he has learned. Over to Toastmaster DTM Sundararaman. The dais is yours.
Michelangelo is a popular Italian sculptor, and one of his favorite artifacts is the statue of David. Statue of David, I think some of you would have seen this picture in the internet or in some magazines. When the statue was complete, Pope John asked him, "How did you make this wonderful masterpiece?" Then at that time, Michelangelo replied, saying that, "I removed everything that was not David." Have you got the message? He removed everything that was not David. That means he has taken a stone and then which was not David, he removed it. That means whatever the flaws, whatever mistakes. So today I am going to talk about some of the mistakes while we script our speeches, and the moment you start removing your mistakes, then your speech will get enhanced. So I can do it the other way. I can talk about the do's. I think many speakers, education speakers would have done that, but probably I thought of approaching it a different way. So when you start talking about the don'ts, so probably that awareness will be more. So today I'm going to cover 9 common mistakes that Toastmasters or any budding speakers they make while preparing the script. Actually, to become a speaker, 2 things are important. One is crafting your speech. The second one is delivering it. I am not going to talk about the second part, delivery part. Today I am talking the first part of it. So the number 1 mistake is ignorant about why we speak. So we all join Toastmasters to improve our communication skills. After some time, then we become comfortable in speaking. But after some time, we are clueless why we have joined this. Over a period of time, within 6 months, I think Toastmaster framework will help you to improve your communication skill. But why do we want to become a speaker? There are multiple reasons for it. Number 1, So before that, let's try to understand another quote from the Greek scholar Plato. He said, "Wise men speak because they have something to say, whereas fools speak because they have to say something." So I hope you understand the difference, right? Whenever we speak, there should be a purpose. So without purpose, there is no point in rambling on the stage, wasting your time and others' time. Why do we speak? There are multiple objectives. One is to excel in profession. If you are part of a corporate organization, you want to command the team, you have to communicate well with your team members, your clients and customers and other stakeholders. And if you want to become a leader, may be a political leader or a social leader, so always communication is going along with the leadership skills. So a great leader without communication skill cannot survive. Similarly, a great communicator without leadership skill cannot survive. So for that, you have to excel in your communication. To become a celebrity, you want to become a star speaker, or sometimes you want to become a professional speaker. That means you go and speak and then get paid. So that will be your whole-time profession. Or you, if you want, can also become a stand-up comedian. So multiple objectives are there. Second one is, many times we don't know what are the different genre of speeches. So many times we go through the project speeches and deliver speeches, but each one of them come under a different bucket. So there are different kind of speeches available. So if you are aware of it, then we will be clearly articulating why we want to approach that. So number one is informative speech. For example, today one of the speakers talked about the health aspect. So it is all about a particular subject, 5 wives and 1 husband. What, when, who, where, and then finally how part of it. So whenever you give an informative speech, try to address these questions. So the 5 W's and 1 H. The second one is entertaining speech. Most of the humorous speeches will be part of entertaining speeches, or sometimes we have a genre called speaking after dinner. The earlier curriculum of Toastmasters, we used to talk about we used to give a speech called speak after dinner. So these are all coming under the entertaining speech. The third one is persuasive speech. So primarily coaxing the audience. So why I have put Jayalalitha here, or former CM. So at the end of every speech, especially the election speech, she will ask, "Say Veergala, say Veergala." She used to coax the audience to vote for her party. And the last one is called inspirational speech. Can anyone tell the difference between persuasive speech and informational speech? What is that? Inspirational speech?
Persuasive makes others to do something. Inspiration is from their own experience.
Okay, you are closer to the answer, yes, sir.
Persuasive is based on logic, inspiration is based on feelings. Is the major difference.
Okay. So persuasive is primarily based on logic and emotion. So you have to provide the logic with proper supporting material, and you should also share emotion. So the idea here is, at the end of the speech, you will go for a call for action. At the end, you will ask, I have donated blood 25 times. Next month, I am going to give for the 26th time, I am going to give blood. Will you all join with me? Something like that, call for action. Whereas in the inspiration speech, it will not have a call for action. It will be very subtle in nature. The person who is giving that speech will talk about a journey from point A to point B. For example, he may be a pauper. He would have started his life from scratch. Today, he might have become a millionaire. You would have not studied even, you would have been a school dropout, but today you would have become a great scholar in academic perspective. So in a specific journey, you would have crossed the journey from point A to point B, and generally he will reveal the secret. Most of the time it will be personal experience, or sometimes he may also talk about someone else. By sharing the secret, the audience will get inspired and will say, well, that person is doing, and most of the time this person will not put himself in a pedestal. He will be vulnerable in front of the audience, and he say that I have done this, and probably you can also do that in a subtle manner. He will say, and audience, at least some of the audience will think, yes, I will also try to apply this formula and then get inspired. So that is the basic difference between persuasive speech and inspirational speech. So the reason why I am talking about this, whenever you give a speech, find out whether this is or your speech is falling in any one of these categories, and accordingly you have to draft your script. And confusion regarding selection of the topics. Okay, I have joined Toastmasters, and now they have given something called the pathways, and I don't know what to speak on. So there are so many topics the people come and speak here, but the moment I start thinking of writing my script, I am unable to get on the topics. So for which this formula will be helpful. One is the topics you should have mastery. So you should be very much familiar with the subject. And the second one is the topic should also be close to your heart. So you should enjoy speaking about that particular topic. But the third circle is very, very important. Topics the audience cares about it. For example, I have worked in the oil and gas industry for almost 25 years. So that is, I have immense knowledge about the oil and gas industry. And that is a topic that also I love. But what if I come and talking about crude distillation and producing diesel, kerosene, etc. So that will not be relevant for this audience. So the third circle is very, very important. And in today's context, actually, even if you are not having mastery, even if you don't have the subject, the third one is important. If you are able to identify the topic that audience like it and the way you deliver it with the engaging delivery, you will be able to win the hearts of the audience. But in general, this intersection is very important. Topics you choose here will be topics that is close to your heart and the topics you love, and finally that should be having some interest in the audience. And where can we find out the sources for the topics? So very easy, one from personal experience, your interest, your career, family, education, that is internal. Then the external one is reference material, website, magazines, newspapers, etc., etc. I will give you some samples. For example, if you want to talk about your personal experience, my memorable events, student life, childhood, my first day in college, my first day in office, my corporate life, my favorite movie. So most of them will be given the topic that will be given to the guest in a table topic section. Easy topics, your favorite movie, your favorite book. So at least if you are able to talk 2 minutes continuously without any hiccups, that will help you. And your thoughts about country, people, economy in general, your perception, that matters. And my goals, ambition, etc. So there are innumerable topics. This basic guideline will be helpful. And external, for example, whatever you have read in your today's newspaper, topical item you can take and then speak on. There are several other external references are available. And generally, recommendation is not to share the social media forwards, WhatsApp forwards. In fact, I have been to many WhatsApp groups. The reason is every day morning you get a lot of forward stories. You would have listened to them a number of times. You get annoyed, right? So never try to do that unless you have your own perspective about the particular topic, right? So you can take that as a support material, but you have to share your perspective. So if you don't have your perspective, just sharing that to forward stories, that will not be a good idea. Because people are interested in knowing about your story and your perspective. And for that, you have to keep your eyes and ears open. So we are all like creative people, like writers, speakers are also creative people, and we have to keep your eyes and ears open. The moment you go to cafeteria, so you may have a cup of coffee, you will be sitting alone, but you keep your eyes open and listen to what others are saying. You will get some interesting anecdotes, some stories, but don't reproduce as it is. The after effects I am not responsible. So you have to sanitize it. Even the great writer Sujata used to say that my stories almost 78% they are all true and 25% fiction, and that is where he will try to sanitize. So do that formula. So that is where you will get lot of ideas. So you have to keep your eyes and ears open. Even while walking on board, or when you go to cafeteria, or when you attend any function also. And maintain a journal. So I think this is easy. Today we have mobile, and whenever you see something interesting, immediately you can jot down, put it in your mobile phone, or even voice record it, and then that will come as a reference material. And at any point of time, in fact, the moment you become a member in Toastmasters, you are given access to the complete all the 5 levels in the pathway. Go through all the projects and then try to have an idea of what kind of speeches are required. And you can keep maintaining in the journal different topics, and at any time it will be used as a ready reckoner. And the next mistake what we try to do is not understanding the structure of the speech. We are not familiar with the elements of the speech. So I think for most of the experienced Toastmasters this is very simple, but for the benefit of guest I am telling, every speech has got 3 basic elements called opening, body and conclusion, or beginning, body and the end. So all the three elements are important and each one of them need to be approached in a different manner. First, before getting into the opening and conclusion, let me talk about the body of the speech. We don't know how to structure the body. So most of our speeches, they are all 5 to 7 minute speeches. Rarely we go and talk for 10 minutes or 15 minutes. So in these 5 to 7 minutes, we can maximum talk only 3 points, 3 bullet points. These 3 points, or even if it is a 10-minute speech or 15-minute speech, you can broadly bucket them under 3 points because that is comfortable for you as a speaker. As well, the audience cannot take not more than 3 points. In fact, today I am going to talk about 9 different mistakes, but at the end, I'm not sure how many points you will remember at the end of the day. So if I only talk about 3 points, probably you will be able to remember. But this is not a speech, I am giving a training program. So why the structuring is important? The organization is very, very important. The reason is, number one, it is easy for you as well the audience to understand. So the moment you say that today I am going to talk about 3 points. Number one, this. And I give a story. Number two, and then I give a personal experience. Number three, at the end you summarize only 3 points. It is easy to understand, easy to remember, and it also gives more credibility. So otherwise, if you talk more points, sometimes you have to forcefully bring in some material and you will lose credibility because you will start rambling. And more enjoyable. And there are different ways you can bring this kind of structure. So for example, one is any topic can be approached through any one of these techniques. One is called chronological technique. The second one is known as spatial. The third one is causal. Fourth one is comparative, topical, problem and solution technique. Let me give an example, probably you will be able to understand. Chronological means what? Time bound. For example, I am going to talk about the education system in our country. I can say how it was in before 80s and how it is now. So how it is going to be in the future. So that is called chronological approach. Yesterday, today and tomorrow. So this you can talk any informative speech. For example, if you want to talk about the mobile technology or 5G communication, you can tell how you are struggling to get a landline, and then today what kind of communication devices you use, and going forward what will be the scenario. So that kind of approach. The same topic, spatial means it is all about geography, space, geography. So you can say how education system is prevalent in the Western world, and how it is in Europe, and how it is in the Far East countries. So that way you can approach. Same topic but different approach. Causal means you say cause and effect. So this is what happened and this is how it failed. This is what the steps were taken by the ministry and the academics got improved. So lack of meals during daytime, that made school people, the school children to get dropped in the school. That is where Kamaraj and MGR brought out the noon meal scheme, and people started attending schools and the overall education system improved. Cause and effect. Then the comparative. Comparative, you can say, today I am going to talk about education in CBSE, ICSE, and then metric or state board. So we can talk about the education as a comparative manner between different systems. And the topical means today what is happening. So today we are all talking about new education policy. So again we can also make a combination. We can also take it as a topical and then compare new education policy versus the old education policy. That also you can make it. And the problem and solution. For example, in the last few weeks there are a lot of messages in the social media saying that 50,000 people have not attended the Tamil exam and the school final. So people were taken aback. 50,000 people opt out. They have not come for the exam. So people are clueless whether this was happening in the last few years after the pandemic or is it happening for the first time. Probably you can take that as a topic and then deliver a speech. And then the moment you come out with the 3 points, each of the points you have to come out with support materials. So here metaphorically I have shown a picture. So you can construct a wall by stacking a heap of bricks. So that is possible. Immediately, temporarily, I can construct a wall with this kind of this one. But how long it will be lasting? What will be the strength of this wall? So it is so weak, right? So at any time it can crumble. Whereas here, this has got a support material called cement. So that is where you have to bring in support materials. For every point of view, you have to bring in some kind of support material. That can be statistics. You can open your speech with some kind of statistics. The moment you bring in statistics, it brings credibility to your speech. So, and also you are supposed to tell the source. According to UNO, according to World Health Organization, so many people are starving with due to malnutrition or something like that. You can start with statistics. You can bring facts, testimony, examples, visual aids. I think last week Saravanan or IPP did a project. He was talking about what are all the different kind of projects he has done in the entire park. I think most of the projects he has used a visual aid. So even for icebreaker he has used a stone and then a gun and other stuff. The moment you bring in visual aid, the audience attention is towards the speaker and the engagement level is very high. And never try to use the same support material throughout the speech. For example, for point A, point B, point C, for everything you don't bring in statistics alone. So try to have a mix, medley of everything. So that the speech will be interesting to the audience. Then, after covering the body, now I am coming to the opening. Opening, we should avoid boring and opening, cliched boring. So most of the time when you go to the government meetings, immediately they'll say general manager, DGMs and my officers, my colleagues. So this kind of addressing itself will go on for 2 to 3 minutes. Or if you go to a political party, avargale, ivargale, thodagale, so people keep on addressing the audience. So these are all the cliched way of opening. So we are all in 2023 AD. So what does AD stand for? Okay. So that is the right answer, but I have a different answer. So 2023 attention deficit. So due to social media and then mobile technology, everyone is having attention deficiency syndrome. So it is very difficult to engage the audience. So for which your opening should be attention grabbing, the very first 30 seconds. For example, today when I started my training program, I started with the image of Michelangelo and then the statue of David. So the first 30 seconds are important. So that is where normal conventional opening. Sometimes people start with an apologetic tone, saying that today I have been asked to release this book, but yesterday only I got the copy of the book. I have not even gone through the 5 pages, but still I am happy that so and so. So this way of apology, or otherwise I am not all fit to talk on this subject. So it is no way connected with the topic. Still they call me, and it is. So they will be rambling like this, apologetic tone, and sometimes they make some generic motherhood statements, kind of stuff, or just for the sake of asking questions. How many of you want to become great communicators or something like that? Very obvious questions, try to avoid them. So instead of that, a startling question or a challenging statements or display or object, do something, or even sometimes I have tried magic tricks. So probably people who are attending Medley meeting in Gandhinagar Club would be able to remember. I started my speeches with a magic trick or something like that. Do something different to grab the attention of the audience, but that should be relevant to your speech. Don't do it for the sake of it. Then abrupt ending. And like the openings, the typical meetings, I think I have done, my session is over. So I am done with this, my topic. So don't do that. Audience will give you you would have done great job throughout the meeting, but the ending, if you do that, then audience will get demotivated and they will have a very negative image about yourself. So this is where conclusion is important. This is where a lot of rhetoric devices will be helpful. For example, we say triads, duty, diligence, discipline. So use such kind of powerful words to close your meeting, or something unexpected you say some kind of witty remarks and then close the meeting, close your session. Punchlines. So probably your body of the speech would have 3 points, and these 3 points should not be an isolated one. So for example, the moment you cover point A and when you switch over to point B, audience should not feel that you are jumping from point A to point B. So because if for point A your support material may be statistics, point B it will be a support material, maybe a personal story. So there should be smooth transition between each points. This not only between the body of the speech, the transition should be smooth from the opening statement to the body, and from the body point A to point B to point C, and to the conclusion. Everywhere you have to have the transition elements. So for which a lot of transitional words are there. For example, finally, when you are nearing the conclusion, you can say that for all those reasons, in conclusion, to summit. In fact, whenever I think people who have participated in international speech contest would have gone through the ballot. The ballot, there is one specific item which gives weightage for summing up. The summing up is very, very important. So those days, people will say in summary, they will be very particular in using those words. So the reason why they insist on the contest is, as a speaker, you are supposed to sum it up so that the audience will have takeaways. For 30 minutes, you would have talked so many things, but at the end, people may not be able to recollect. As a speaker, if you are able to, but when you are telling the summary, you have to use those keywords, like as you can see, and between the paragraphs, you can say the next day, going forward. So probably sometimes you may have totally isolated content. You can say that let's park this aside right now for a moment. Let me jump into the next scenario number 2. You can also say that. At least audience will be clear that you are making a deliberate pause and then you are switching over to another subject. So otherwise you can use the natural transition material. And this one is very, very important. I am very particular about it. I am not sure how many people give weightage for this. Titling of your speech. Why this is important is, not sure whether people go through the agenda, at least even Toastmaster, not everyone is going through. He is doing some project. He is doing from project 2 or 3. So many people don't know. But the moment some posters are created, the title, if it is eye-catching title, that will bring more guests, and that will also the existing members who will have a double mind to whether to attend the meeting or not. But the moment they see some interesting title, they'll make up their mind to attend the meeting. So the title should not be obvious. So for example, titling your book is different. So a lot of successful books, they say that 7 ways to improve your productivity, 5 ways to reduce laziness, or 10 ways to reduce your weight. Such kind of book titles are successful. But in speeches, so suggestion is not to have a revealing or a very cliche title. So try to make it very, very catchy. Let me give an example. For example, you can use acronyms. Today I think I understand that a lot of IT people are here. So my icebreaker speech was titled as SDLC. What is SDLC?
Software Development Life Cycle.
Okay. But here I talked about Sundar's development life cycle. Right? So that way you take an acronym and then try to twist it. Or you can say something like a BJP, but it will not be political subject. So you can give your own expansion for the acronym. The second one is based on the current affairs. For example, if you want to talk about organic food, or you want to talk about I think today is this year is called the cereal year. Millet years, right? You want to give an informative talk about millet, then you can title it as not to nutter, right? Not to nutter. The moment people will think that you are going to talk about triple R, but you can give such kind of titles. Metaphoric titles. Do we have any auditors here? Chartered accountants? Okay. So my father-in-law used to be, he is a chartered accountant. Whenever he is taking classes, he will say that auditors, we are the watchdogs and not bloodhounds. Anand, am I right? Correct. So the reason the auditors are supposed to be watchdogs and then find out whether something goes wrong, but they are not bloodhounds like wet and I merit way. They are not supposed to codify people. So by giving such kind of metaphoric things, they make things simple, right? So you are not expecting the chartered accountant to unnecessarily irritate the clients or the other people. So it is their job to be like a watchdog. So when something goes wrong, they have to bark. That's all. So that way, metaphorically, you can bring title. I think metaphoric titles are very, very catchy. In fact, a lot of popular books they have metaphoric titles. For example, who moved my cheese? That is a metaphoric title. In this, author has not talked about anything to do with the dairy items or cheese. So he is talking about some, and then connecting the dots. His speech as well as I think there is also about Steve Jobs. Connecting dots. Steve Jobs is not talking about Rangoli or any column, right? He is talking about the experience, how you are trying to connect to predict your future. So the metaphoric titles are very important. Distort a popular quote. Take a quote and then try to do a little bit of reverse. So my wife Jayanti used to be a president and she used to be a member of Medley. So when she gave an icebreaker speech, I was her mentor, and she used to tell that she is the most luckiest person. She will say, I have good mother, father, good husband. And then her title speech for icebreaker was, Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the luckiest of you all. So that is how she was titling her speech. And some of you would have heard about the champion speeches. One such champion was Sri Lanka. What is his name, sir? Dhananjay Edraj. His speech was, I see something in you. So that was the repeat phrase throughout his speech. That itself can be your title. The repeat phrase can be your title. So that is very important. So in summary, so these are all some of the common mistakes. Ignorant about why we speak. We don't know why we are all joined for improving our communication skill, but we keep on repeating projects, but we don't know why we are giving those kind of speeches. What is our final objective? We are not very sure. Lack of idea on the genre of the speeches, confusion regarding selection of the topics, not familiar with the three elements, beginning, body and conclusion, and not clear on the subject and type the opening and the ending, cliched opening and abrupt ending, isolated contents, and obvious and revealing types. So I think by giving examples on the kind of mistakes, I also quickly explained about the solutions. This requires longer discussions, but I have given you a kind of overview. Do we have 5 minutes for Q&A? Probably I can take 2 questions. I think she has only shown yellow card. I'll take 2 questions if we have, otherwise I can take it offline.
How much is humor important?
So humor is very much important. So probably if you are not a humorous person like Guru Prasad or others, don't try it in the beginning. So over a period of time you can bring it, but don't insert canned jokes for the sake of bringing humor. So to become a humorous speaker, for the speech alone, overnight you cannot become a humorous speaker. You have to become a humorous person. So in your life, offline and offline, online and offline, you have to become a humorous. So that way it will be easy. So initially it will be slightly difficult if you are not such kind of attitude, if you don't have such kind of attitude.
Will it be a negative thing?
No. So if you are a humorous person, definitely the engagement level will be very high. So even for technical presentation, even on a serious topic like health, safety, environment, any technical topic, you can start with the humorous and you can conclude with the humor. That will sell like anything. But probably you can take a little time and then understand all the basic hygiene factors, and then later you can take humor as any other. Yes.
Can any other language words can be incorporated in the speech apart from English in a speech?
Yeah, in Toastmasters or in general?
In Toastmasters.
In Toastmasters you can use it, but generally you are not. If you are only speaking in Chennai, you can use it, but it is better to quickly translate that in English. That will be because sometimes people, the entire audience need not know Tamil, right? So you can quickly explain, but the translation should convey the appropriate meaning, right? So otherwise it may not gel with the audience. So you can do that, not an issue. Even in contest also you can use it. It is not. Anything like this?
Can we carry the notes and refer to it?
Yeah, initially you are allowed to do that. So, but instead of carrying the notes, you can make bullet points, and then that will be easy. You can just keep a sheet of paper, the important points, and then refer it. In fact, people give a lot of weightage on mind maps. So if you prepare a mind map, so today I didn't have time to explain the mind map. The Toastmaster, this particular topic, successful speaker series, talks about mind map. So if you put all the points in one single slide and take a printout, that will be very, very handy. Mind map will be very useful. But don't take the entire script with you. So that is very difficult. Even it is very difficult for you to find out where you have missed out the point. So if it is too big. So I think red card has been shown for quite some time. So I'll take a pause here, and then probably if you have any questions, I will take it offline. Thank you so much for your TMOD.
Thank you, sir, for such an enlightening and eye-opening session. I personally learnt a lot from this, and I hope all newcomers would have taken lots of points from sir's session. Thank you, sir, once again. During Second World War, lots of soldiers got injured, and a study was conducted to measure the perception of pain by the soldiers, and they compared it with the measurement of the pain of a normal civilian who got same type of injury. And when they compared both, the perception of pain by the soldiers were far less when compared to normal civilians. This was because the soldiers, they took it as they escaped the death in the battlefield with just small injury. But for a normal civilian, those injuries were a threat to his comfortable life. And this concluded that there is a part in the brain called as pain modulation system that modifies our pain level depending upon our emotions. And an important part of this pain modulating system is the release of a neurotransmitter called endorphin. So endorphin is the E of death, the last happy hormone. Heavy exercise and physical activities, laughing loudly, eating a favorite food, meditation, exposure to sunlight, all increases our endorphin level. It relieves, decreases our stress, improves our sleeping hours, and thereby it increases the secretion of all other happy hormones. So I hope you are all familiar with the 4 happy hormones that can be remembered by the word DOES. D stands for dopamine, that is associated with the reward system. O stands for oxytocin, associated with the intimacy. And E stands for endorphin, the natural painkiller. And S, the serotonin, which is responsible for our confidence and self-esteem when we work in group. Let me conclude my theme at the end of the evaluation session. To continue the conduct the evaluation session, I once again call upon our general evaluator, Toastmaster Saravanan.
Well, we listened to 2 rollicking speeches, which were inspirational as well as informational. And to evaluate their thoughts as well as actions, we have 2 evaluators. And as I mentioned, we have this GATE team, G-A-T, and this is the evaluation team, which is the last team, who will evaluate the speakers. To evaluate the first speech, Toastmaster Anuradha's speech, I would like to call upon a person who is a multi-talented personality. He is a founder member of Medley, and he is a person who has excelled in various areas, materials, minerals, as well as chemicals. All these areas he has excelled in. And what I personally like in his speech is more of the word game. I used to call as master of word game. Please put your hands to welcome DTM Sampath Sowrirajan.
This light is disturbing me. Too bright. Good afternoon, General Evaluator, Toastmasters, and Toastmaster Anuradha specifically. Toastmaster Anuradha gave a very relevant topic, informative talk, and it was also quite interesting the way she presented it. The main purpose of her speech is to make use of feedback she received earlier. It's a fundamental thing in Toastmasters. I think I have gone through the feedback she got earlier. I think she has done a very good job of that. Let us give her an applause. The topic is, again it can come in everywhere, in social media or newspaper or TV channel, everywhere. So, such an important topic, especially because in our modern way of life, we are tending to spoil our health in many ways. Now the opening itself, like today Sundararaman was saying, opening was with a question, which is very commonly employed by many people. most of the time it is not employed adequately, powerfully or effectively. Because the question should really stir people. So your question was important, but it didn't. You could have made it a little better with your vocal variety or something. Think about it, because question is a good thing. At the same time, see, in Toastmasters, wherever we have got improvement points, they are also on our strengths. In our strengths, there will be improvement points, so that we go one step higher. So take it in that spirit. And one of the things you did in the beginning is quite interesting. That is, you commented upon a speech or lecture, you listened to that, you presented that in a brief manner. It was quite interesting because it had some useful slides and other things. That's okay. But the slide handling, you should master it a little more, because you cannot hide the slide. People should look at you, not at the slide. So this slide, when it is here, you should be here. Like people can see both. And when you are speaking, they are listening to you, and you point out something, they see that. This is a very important aspect of using slides. So this will help you further to more effectively use those visual aids. And your second part of your speech was about implementing the system you listen to in your own family circle and later on extending to the friend circle. It was very interesting because it gave a series of details which we can take it as do it yourself, whoever the listener here is, and we can go back and try the system. Lots of details. This is where the grouping the things is a very important thing in a speech of 7 minutes. If you keep going in straight line, it's very difficult to know what you did at the end of 7 minutes. Everybody should understand you got one pocket of information here, another pocket here, another, like he said, bullet points or something which you develop in support materials. And the transition, the whole thing should be clear in the mind of the listener, then the takeaway will be very strong. But in your today's case, the transition, because it was a free flow of the total thing, except that first part you had the presentation and then you implementation, this separation was not very clear. That's the point which you can improve in future. So overall, you have very good word power, you have got a good voice, but vocal variety, generally vocal variety has got less usage in informational speeches, but you can still find some role for that. Similarly for the body language and the use of space, all of these things will become slightly less important in informative speeches, but you can try to find out how you can make use of it. Overall, you have given a very good speech, and what I will say is about the OBC, already I told about the opening, it was not powerful questioning. The ending was also, this just tapered away, the topic just tapered away. Ending also you should make it more powerful. In the end, it's like Sundar today in his training also said, in the end you have to have something. The opening is to get the people to listen to you. Ending is for the people to remember what you spoke even after some time. So that powerful thing should be there in the conclusion. So you can make that improvement in that, that will be very useful. Overall, you have got very good content, very good way of presentation, and I think you can go to great heights in future. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, DTM Sampath. To evaluate the second speech, Toastmaster Sandhya's speech, we have a communication specialist who has an eye for detail and the copyright holder for micropass. Please put your hands to welcome DTM Thomas.
Thank you, G. Good afternoon, all of you, Toastmaster Sandhya especially. When life throws a huge bad lemon called COVID, what do? You grab it and you make a lemonade and serve it to us, giving a fantastic case study. Rare one. I'm going to talk only about the project and not about your speech. You have ticked all the boxes. First of all, it's a live, red hot case study by somebody who has gone through the whole thing, suffered, found a solution and implemented it. So in terms of authenticity, it's 100%. That's what I like most about it. Secondly, an ironclad structure and flow. Normally one shouldn't talk about the contents, but here I have to explain what I'm trying to say. what forced the change? That's the first one. Then, what is the cost of the change in terms of financial cost, emotional, whatever. Then the solution. The solution was consolidate, reduce the operations or limit operations to one place. Apps classic management. And then the implementation plan for each group. There I particularly liked your winning the goodwill of the industry by giving their reference to your customers, and customers also feeling happy. Very well done. It's actually, making a virtue out of a necessity. Did it very well. And last, my favorite part, communication plan. The how of it and the why of it. And the when of it was already there. I particularly liked the sensitivity you showed in dealing with the employees. When the employees don't have any choice, that's the truth. They don't want to be seen as having no choice at all. They want to feel as if they are exercising their choice. You did that very well by negotiating, overcoming their objection about the financials. They gave their effort and time, you gave the funding. I thought that is the win-win that you do in management. There's a lot for me to say, but the timer's tyranny doesn't allow me to say more. And three of my wish list. This is the 4 pluses and 3 of my wish list. One is, imagine a PPT. You have the stakeholders, the entire flow. What happened, the challenges, the compensation, the media used, the reach. It's ideal, tailor-made for a management presentation. This has the potential for getting into the academics as a case study in communication. Take my words. Secondly, exhibits. How was the communication sent? What does it look like? Then, reaction from the employees. What did they say? How they say is what tells you what they feel, not what they say. It's a classic. It has every potential to be risen, to rise up to that level. Therefore, I'm straining my point. And lastly, a little curiosity. When things went back to normal, what happened to all this? That's for another day. Over to you.
Thank you, DTM Thomas. Now we listen to both the evaluations. Timer, can you let us know have both the evaluators qualified?
Qualified as DTM Thomas.
Fine. So, okay, fine. So we'll be having the QR code as well. But if you have any comments or feedback, please provide to both the evaluators. Now we have here the evaluation report. Now the next reports are more of the GAT reports, the Grammarian report first. So, but before that, I just wanted to let you know, normally we call it as tag report, but I'm just calling it as GAT report. The reason here is, I wanted to ensure that the word of the day lingers in the mind for long, as well as the R counter as well as timer will be able to use those word of the day as well. That is one point. Second point is more of the grammarian, when they talk, the timer will be in a position to calculate their timing as well. Because otherwise the timer will give the timing response for all the speakers, but not the grammarian as well as R counter. That's the reason I am just inversing that roles. That's the reason. So let us call the grammarian to provide the report. Toastmaster Anandan, please.
Thank you, Toastmaster Chairman. In general, the language which was used in the course of the meeting was very, very good. It was very, very simple, not the Shashi Tharoor kind of English where very few people understand. You have to listen to the dictionary in general. Now coming to specifics, the word of the day was used by 5 people: Toastmaster Sampath, Toastmaster Anuradha, Toastmaster Sandhya, Toastmaster Pravda, and Toastmaster Sowrirajan. Can we have a huge round of applause for this? We had a lot of mnemonics and abbreviations used, which made the whole meeting was so easy to remember. Now, what are the mnemonics used? Let me give you an example. Doses, right? Dopamine, oxytocin, endorphin, serotonin. That's one, right? Then we have SDLC, Sundar Development Life Cycle. This is going to stay with me for quite a lot of time. And then we had the triads used: duty, diligence, and discipline, right? And apart from that, we had a lovely quotes used peppered throughout the meeting. What were these? We have a lot of problems, 99 of them don't happen. That's one. Second, it is not what you communicate, but how you communicate that matters. When life gives you lemon, make a lemonade out of it. wise men say because they have to say something, fools say because they have something because they have to say something. That's another one. And let's grow. Let us change and grow better. Are these lovely words by which you feel a little bit lot more energized and refreshed? I didn't find a lot of incorrect usage, just a couple where they have to take care of them. It should have been they have to take care of themselves, and things would have been turned different. Things would have turned differently. I think it was the context which was more important to be used at that point of time. Good words were that I forgot another one, 2023 AD. You use, what was it? 2023 attention deficit was a killer out there. So I think in general a great meeting, good lovely words, and back to the general evaluator. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Anand, for the detailed report. Now let us hear from the accountant, Toastmaster Sundararaman.
Greetings everyone again. We had clean speeches from 3 of the members today. Toastmaster Sandhya, guest Gomati, and Toastmaster Pravda. Coming to the counter report, Toastmaster Anuradha used 5 hours. Toastmaster Rohit used more than 5 hours, 1 so and 1 and. Guest Kushal Singh used 1 so. Guest Chokalingam used 1 and. Toastmaster Ranga used 4 hours. Guest Sintara used 3 hours, 2 so, 1 like. DTM Sampath Sowrirajan used 2 hours. DTM Thomas used 1 hour and 2 repeats. And the twice and I mean twice. Toastmaster Anandan used 2 hours and right were repeated. Toastmaster Saravanan used 4 hours and 1 and. That's over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sundararaman. Now let us hear from the timer, Toastmaster Nishana.
Good evening, everyone. So it's going to be a detailed report. Toastmaster Anuradha filled our hearts in 7 minutes 24 seconds. Toastmaster Sandhya consolidated her thoughts on change management in 7 minutes exact 30 seconds. From the evaluation side, DTM Sampath sir has explained the objectives and the feedback on Anuradha's project in 4 minutes 53 seconds. And DTM Thomas sir has given the feedback on Sandhya's speech in 3 minutes 10 seconds. From the table topic session, Toastmaster Shanmugavel has explained where his heart is in 1 minute 22 seconds. Guest Gomati explained there is a second chance for everything in 2 minutes. Guest Kushal explained the sports and discipline in 47 seconds. Guest Chokalingam disagreed on never judge a book by its cover in 52 seconds. Toastmaster Ranga narrated his wish list on skills in 1 minute 14 seconds. And guest Sintana, I hope explained her biggest list of fears in 1 minute 37 seconds. And for the educational session, DTM Sundararaman sir spelled the magic of ingredients of the proper speech in 28 minutes 50 seconds. Grammarian Toastmaster Anandan took 2 minutes 6 seconds, and our counter Toastmaster Presiding took 50 seconds to give the detailed report. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Nishana, for the detailed report, as well as a big shout out for Toastmaster Nishana for taking the timer role at the last minute. With that, we have come through all the gate reports, GAT as well as evaluation reports. Now it's time for you to vote for the best tag role player or the gate role player. Okay. So please use the QR codes as well as give the feedback if you have anything for the GAT reports. Now it's time for me to provide my general evaluation report on the overall proceedings of this meeting. As I mentioned, there are 5 different categories or parameters that I normally look for a meeting. The first one is the timeliness, enthusiasm, preparedness, performance, as well as organization. And based on this, I have come up with my evaluation report. the meeting starts, I mean, in the sense like it starts from last week onwards, because there is a lot of pre-meeting effort that goes into the meetings. So I would say like the WhatsApp group was created promptly, as well as the role players, agenda, meeting flyers, and everything were done at the appropriate times. Only thing is the timer role was not available at that point of time, but I know like normally members will not take the timer role very enthusiastic, but that is also very important, because that is where you can get to develop your critical thinking, motivating others by not providing them disqualification. Okay, I'm just joking. But I mean, there are various ways that you can improve your planning and organization also as part of timer. So I urge the members, please ensure that you take up the timer role or all counter role also, apart from the grammarian roles. Okay, that is very important. Then attendance, I would have to say, because ours is a 43 members strong club. But look at the attendance. 7 of the attendance is from guests, okay? And we have 18 from the members. So it is 2:1 ratio, almost. So we have to just look at this composition and have to ensure that most of the people are sitting in the sofa as well. Okay, that is one thing that is important. Then we have to see like the display of clubs as club banners as well as ribbons. This is very impressive. I have to say like I came early and then I was just sitting in the last row to see like how the meeting is arranged, organized and everything. That is pretty efficient, I would say, because Medley is a 14-year-old club. It started way back in 2008. So and all the accolades, everything that we have, almost we have put it over here, and then many other things are kept over there in the suitcase as well. So that means like the XCOM has done an excellent job, which deserves a lot of applause as well. Then SAA, I have to start, like Sandhya is an accidental SAA, but she did a brilliant job on that. Thank you very much for the way you presented that subject of script as well. Then normally like what I would say here is at the beginning we have to just explain the members as well as guests about the QR codes and voting process, because this is a tedious process. You have to just go and understand where the QR code is, and then you have to take that and then go to open that URL and have to present that whoever has been the better speaker or better evaluator, everything. So that's a tedious process. It has to be explained at the beginning so that everybody will be aware as well as they know their roles and responsibilities as well. Then claps are missing most of the times. So please ensure that the claps are given so that it motivates whoever is coming over here and talks about something. And then one more thing also is about the speaker area. We can just mention about the speaker area at the upfront, so that you don't have to give some signs like okay, go back. Yeah, exactly. So that is something that will be helpful. And QR code also, if we can take some printouts and keep it somewhere, people will be able to take that and then do that rather than scrambling for these QR codes. That's another thing. From a presidential address, I would say it is really well done. And if I introduce the guest and then ask them like what makes them come over here and what is the expectations, that's also done. And 7 guests, actually that is a record I guess. Okay, brilliant. And that's definitely a testimony for Medley's quality, and that's the reason like we are getting more number of guests on a frequent basis. Then in the present speech you mentioned about 19% of the problems doesn't happen. Who said? I was thinking like maybe some bachelor, okay, because they are not married. But I mean it was VP themselves, so that's good. Then TMOD, like lots of tidbits of happiness, very well done. And then we were able to see like okay, what are the hormones and what are the things that are necessary for our happiness quotient. That is something that is increasing our quotients. Then it was helpful to have that smooth conduct of the meeting as well. Very well done. Then we have 2 good speeches. Toastmaster Anuradha, very informational and heartfelt, so that we know like how we can use diet to reduce our weight rather than going for some expensive things to reduce our weight essentially. And Toastmaster Sandhya, as usual, very well done. And let us change and grow better. That's a moral I can hear from. Then TT Master, I have to say this. Toastmaster Rohit has a thing to say like to evoke some emotions from the audience. So these are all like heartfelt topics. I always remember Toastmaster Rohit, whenever he does this TT Master role, he asks questions in such a way that the the members talk about their personal stories. I remember, last story also you mentioned about mainly about your personal stories. That means the person is able to give some topic which is more getting into the minds of the audience and then getting their responses back. That's really good. Then one suggestion I have to give here is, at least for the first 3 or 4 members who came and talked about, they asked to repeat the topic. Maybe you can tell 2 or 3 times so that they will be in a position to understand that before they do this. Then tag roll did a brilliant job, I would say. Within that span of time, they were able to give their reports in a manner that is very concise as well as precise. Evaluation, I like the way the actionable feedback was given. Okay, so one of the point was more of when you have the PPT, what you have to do so that you get the audience attention, you connect the audience at the same time, what you have to do with respect to the PPT as well. So these are all nuances that you get from the veteran Toastmasters. These are actionable feedback you can incorporate in your daily life. It's not only useful for the speakers but also for anybody who can listen to that. And education session, I have to say, brilliant session. Thank you very much for that session. The way you have started this, that was brilliant, I would say. Remove your mistakes. Through that sculpture, through that David sculpture, you have mentioned about that. And that time itself, we know okay, this is what is coming. And then the way you structured the things through the picturization, it was brilliant. Then general evaluation, I would say one of the things I would say here is about TT Master, timer again. Okay, so timer was the last person to be identified, but when Madam Gomati was talking, she was able to come around and then show the card. So that is very considerate of you, Toastmaster. And with this, I am concluding my session for today from a general evaluation perspective. And thanks for this opportunity. And I would like to hand it over to the Toastmaster of the day for concluding proceedings.
Thank you. I was speaking about various activities that increases secretion of happy hormones, getting outdoors, exposing to sunlight, listening to music, and laughing out with a friend, a good night's sleep. All these activities increases the release of 1, 2 or even 3 happy hormones. There are very few activities that can increase the release of all the 4 happy hormones. One is cooking a delicious and healthy food and sharing it with love with our loved ones. Next is having a massage, getting a massage done. And one that I found that releases all 4 happy hormones is attending a Medley meeting. Yes. Whenever we finish our project, give a speech or get a best speaker, our dopamine level increases. When we work in group and when we volunteer for certain activities like arranging the mementos, everything, our serotonin level increases. We work sharing our knowledge and love with each other, and we work as a second family, increases our dopamine, oxytocin and endorphin level. So I suggest be positive, do activities that are going to increase your happy hormones, do attend a Toastmaster meeting, and quick fix your happiness at the earliest. Over to the presiding officer.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. How was the meeting? In a single word, if you have to describe.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Dopamine, yeah. I have a high dose of all those doses. So thanks for that. And at this time, I would like to invite few of the guests, due to paucity of time, to give their feedback. I request guest Sintana, right?
Yeah, Sintana. So I just came to Medley Toastmaster 4 years back. So now I could see less crowd than what I saw earlier. But I think the way of conducting and the structure, it's actually improved. And I got to learn many things. So how to structure the speech, where and all we are doing the passes and how is the timer matters and how to improve the listening skills. Everything though I know everything, but though I know most of the things, but collecting all these things today is very useful for me. And the way he told about framing the speech was really good. So how we have to take a topic which we have to love, and also it should be useful for the audience, and how, I mean, we should also be very concrete about the topic. So this is the very biggest takeaway that I take away from the speech. So overall, the feedback was also really good. Yeah, I just got to learn many things today. Thanks for having this opportunity for me, and also to tell about the feedback.
Thank you. Thanks for your constructive feedback. This is the call for action for our VPM, VPPR and VPE to bring in more guests and members into the meeting. So I request Toastmaster here, and then we couldn't have you speak on TD. Please. Last time also thanks. Yeah, last time also gave.
Good evening, Toastmasters and my dear guests. Thank you, Toastmaster. Toastmasters, Medley's Toastmasters meeting is always special, and as Madam said, along with the other reasons for dopamine and other happy hormones, consuming information, consuming knowledge always increases the dopamine level. So, as usual, Medley's meeting here is a lot of informations and knowledge, and especially thanks to our educational speaker, our DTM sir. Overall, the meeting was really highly informative. Only one thing, today, this is the third time I'm coming this year. This time I felt a little bit meeting is too serious. Extra serious, maybe because of that light, I think so. Light is a culprit. In old films, black and white films, project villain, no, M.N. Nambiar, they will throw the light on the face, suddenly. When he was talking, suddenly some light will do. I think this light is something destructive, and maybe that light would have made it more serious, and there is a disconnect between the audience and the speaking stage. That could be the reason. Along that, as our general evaluator said, we could have been more generous in clapping hands. That would have made the meeting more energetic and a little bit less serious, I think. Overall, I thoroughly enjoyed this meeting, and very soon, maybe in coming June or something, I will be joining back. Thank you.
Please. You can give your feedback if you will.
Yeah, it's my very first meeting in Toastmasters of its class. In fact, I've never been to any of these sessions, so it's really great. Much better and much professional, and in fact very formal also than what I expected, and more informative. Lot more things for me to take away, and lot more things for me to learn as well. So love to come back again and again for these sessions.
Thank you. So I take these two feedback. It is more serious and it was more formal. In the coming weeks, we will have more fun sessions. So I would request you to visit us again to enjoy those fun sessions as well. As I said, due to paucity of time, I would like to move forward. I would like to extend our thanks to all the role players and the participants here who have taken up time on a Saturday and attend this meeting. And my special thanks to DTM Sundararaman for conducting the wonderful education session upon our request. My special thanks and my appreciation and applause to Toastmaster Nishana, Toastmaster Anuradha and Toastmaster Sandhya for taking up the last minute roles. Even without I had to coax them, they personally volunteered and they agreed to take up those roles. Thanks to them. With this, I have a few announcements to be made. As you all know, we are in the 723rd meeting. So we will be entering into 725th milestone meeting on April 8th. I request all the participants, members who are here, who will be watching it on YouTube, please come and attend and make the milestone meeting a wonderful and a successful one. So the milestone meeting will be on April 8th. So that is the first announcement. And then we have our area contest on April 1st, that is next Saturday from 9:30 to 12:30, I believe. So we have two of our Medley members who are contesting in that event. Toastmaster Jagan and Toastmaster Guru Prasad. We will give our wishes and applauses for them here now. And also, I request members to register for that event and participate and witness and support our Medley members there. And there are a few role players requests for the area contest. I request volunteers from our club to take up roles. And thanks to Toastmaster Prashanavani for voluntarily taking up a role upon my request. And the last one is, we are entering into the next term election. The election officer, the nomination committee head or the lead is Toastmaster Saravanan. He has already sent an email today. So the election will be in the last week of April. So the nominations are open from today. So I request the members to nominate themselves for the roles, the ExCom roles for the next term. That is the term 1 of 2023-2024, which is from July 1st to December 31st. He told me that the email has been sent, and unfortunately I didn't see it, so I found it in my spam. So I request if some of the members who are checking out the mail, if they have not received, please look into your spam folder. You will get the email. So with that, I would request all the members to vote for best role player. That is Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Pravda, TT Master Rohit, and General Evaluator Saravanan. So you need to vote either of them through the QR code. I'll give another 10 seconds to vote the best role player, please. The best TT speaker, Toastmaster Rangarajan Padmavijay. Evaluator, DTM Thomas. Best speaker, Toastmaster Sandhya. Best tag role player, Toastmaster Ananthan. Best role player is Toastmaster Pravda. With this, I take the opportunity to adjourn meeting number 723 with Captain of